Hey, Ken's got fire and a wild hot take. Hey, Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Hey, laughing loud when your team goes down. Hey, Straub boys run this sports town. Show. Sundays, Mondays, we live for the fight. Hey, college game day and Thursday night. Hey, rivals fall and the banter flies. We bleed our teams till the day we die. S-T-R-A-U-E, two loud mouths and a love for the league. From Cleveland roots to the world we go. This is the Straub Bro Sports Show. Straub Bro Sports Show. Straub Bro Show.
Welcome everybody once again to the Straub Bro Sports Show. Woo. Big Bro tapping in with you with Little Bro. As always, not a good start. We're gonna fix it though. Little Bro, how we doing?
My mood has been decided on the three things that we're going to talk about today. One is good, one is bad, and one is optimistic. And so we will see which is which.
One we agree on, one we disagree. I think we disagree on. One I'm going to enjoy just absolutely drubbing you into. It's going to be fun. I'm sorry in advance, bro. I do love you.
All good.
You are my guy, but yeah, we will go from there. Drew, that's not the proper shout out though. How we doing? It's beautiful today. We got a little bit of good weather, and it's time to get rolling. So as we said in the opening, it is our NFL draft preview show. We've got a lot cooked up for the NFL draft, not just on our own teams, but a little bit of things. I will have a set of questions, Big Bro's NFL draft questions. I mean, come on now. And we will talk about our prospective teams. As I said, we're going to rant and yell about some footy. And then, but to start, I should say, we are going to talk about the NBA playoffs. I do want to give some shout outs. Pops was in early. We're late.
Always.
Blame your younger son because for the
blame I-90 traffic. Actually,
I don't want to hear you. Get to your own show on time. Pops or Ray is in the building. Ray, that was almost only one finger on the thing today. Shout out to my man.
I saw that.
Okay. Yeah, my man took a L at work, unfortunately. Shout out to my guy. He's doing all right, though. And then Pops is in the building, as always. All right, so let's get rolling, Drew. As we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, we're going to update on what happened. However, I'm going to quote myself from last week, younger brother. And I said, man, we just spent a lot of time talking about the 2 8 seeds that we think are going to win. It'd be a hell of a show if the Hornets and the Warriors lose. Question. Do the Magic have a chance? Happen. But this team has some Atlanta Hawk the year that they made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals.
That being said, Hornets.
Yes. Thank you. We're good. Warriors and Suns. Give me the Warriors. I don't think there's any question. I'm gonna ride the Steph Curry not last dance tour, but the closing run of it. I'm gonna ride that out. So I'm good there.
I will never not in a winner or loser goes home game. I will never not bet for Steph Curry.
Drew, I'm going to take the Suns out of the conversation. I apologize.
Probably a good idea.
I apologize to Phoenix. If you had any real fans, I would care.
Okay.
Also, if the Hornets go out and smoke the Magic, I will absolutely guarantee and put a parlay in that they will win game 1 against the Pistons.
I like that. So
what happened was,
okay, I will fully eat crow on the Suns one, fully, because there was no way I was picking the Suns. Congrats to them, all that. I defended the Magic for like 5 minutes on this show. You completely cut it out of the clip. I was beefing with dudes in the comments about it. I want my credit on that. I want my credit.
So hold on. Because I had to edit this during work, at my breaks at work and my lunch. So in between it, like I had to just, and there was the spot because I just wanted you agreeing with me. And I did. I had to feed through this whole entire 5-minute run of how the Magic might win. And I was like, this isn't what I need. These are the good
stuff. It is.
Oh, well.
I need to sound like I know what I'm talking about sometimes. But that was it.
Well, Drew, we kind of got that one wrong. I give us credit a lot, but it is funny to fun to have some fun with us. We kind of didn't nail that one, but let's update our NBA playoffs. Let's start on the Eastern Conference side because Drew, here, I didn't give you any credit in the clip because I wanted the joke over the serious. I will give you all of the credit in the world, and I will give you the floor as the Magic are up 1-0 over the Detroit Pistons, not the Charlotte Hornets.
No,
the Orlando Magic 1-0 over the Pistons. Drew, I mean, go ahead. This is your Penn State for the NBA. So just go ahead.
This is my Penn State because, good Lord, a JB Bickerstaff coach team cannot play in the playoffs. And it's so funny to watch a team that it was so much like the Cavaliers when JB Bickerstaff coached them. They had great ball movement. They played great defense. They were able to rotate well, both on the offense and defensive side. They had multiple players they could go to. And then you hit the playoffs, and Cade Cunningham is shooting 27 shots, and there was only one person that shot over 10 shots. And then also on the defensive end, every starter for the Magic scored over 15 points. I don't know what he tries to do when he gets to playoff time, but it seems like he just is okay with playing iso ball with their star and just hoping that works. I don't get it. I think Kenny Atkinson kind of made a similar mistake last year, but you can tell it's very different this year, and we'll talk on that. But it boggles my mind how a coach can be so team-oriented and ball movement focused during the regular season and just scrap that and throw it all away when it hits the playoffs. And it's biting him in the butt.
I think part of that is and this isn't anyone's fault, and it's not your fault. We tend to put a coach on one pedestal. He's going to win a championship. Well, sometimes guys are really good coaches, and when you get into the nuance of it, there are levels to it. Some guys are really good regular season coaches. Some guys are good playoff coaches. The guys who put it together are able to make deep runs in the playoffs. Then you get to the finals, and some guys are good at coaching in the finals. Some guys are Doc Rivers. Like there are levels to these things. JB Bickerstaff is a really good program builder. Part of why he is a good regular season coach is because there are factors that people don't always like to put into perspective when they talk about the NBA. Things like guys taking nights off. Things like how awful it is to for players to focus on a game when they travel into cities like New York and LA. And I'm not making this up. Listen to any of the NBA guys talk on their podcast now, and they tell you about how hard it was to go into Miami and to fly into LA because you knew you were going out. It was easy to go to Milwaukee. because there was nothing to do.
Milwaukee.
Oh, right. So, or I don't know. We're not doing that. I'm not falling into that trap. Or Cleveland. I'll make fun of Cleveland because I live here. So there are reasons why you can get through and win more games in the regular season when you're a young, focused team with a coach who's driving a narrative that we want to win as many games. Then the game slows down. It gets to half court, and you realize that a lot of the things that you've been running all year are basic plays and run outs because you can get out in transition because guys are lazy on a Thursday in the middle of whatever. You know what I mean? So this is the real basketball time, and I'm not surprised that a coach that isn't that great is struggling again. But you're right.
No, absolutely. And I once again, absolutely. I once again want to hype up the Magic defense because
I won't take this without.
Appreciate it. I obviously, like I said, I talked about it. The Magic defense being good, and it carried them into the game one, the play-in win, and now this game one win. You look at that box score in the Detroit, and they shot I think 40% from the field. This team could not get anything going offensively, other than Tobias Harris, kinda, and then obviously Cade Cunningham. The Magic if they can continue this formula of just funneling it and making Cade Cunningham beat them, they're gonna win a couple games in at least one more game in the series, if not the series, because what Detroit was able to do so well is have players collapse on Cade, but him able to kick it out to other guys. If you make Cade hold that ball and take all the shots, you have a really good chance of either not even a poor shooting night, but just limiting the damage there.
I wanted to back you up. They shot 40% from the field, 31% from three. The Magic shot 49% from the field, 29% from three. There's the discrepancy is the difference in the game there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so the Magic have the formula. They know what to do here. You already took the home game you need. And regardless of what happens in game two, Orlando is going to be absolutely buzzing in game three when they return home. Also, I don't understand how this scheduling works, why everyone except for the 1 versus 8s played 2 games already. I don't get it, but
I mean, I'm guessing you're giving the 8 seed the extra day off because they were playing already before everybody else, I guess is the theory, but I agree with you. To touch back on that series though, I agree with you. This isn't over. However, Cavaliers fans, and we're going to talk about them at some point soon, next, whenever. Cavaliers fans know, man, this Magic team is scary. And when it gets slowed down into playoff basketball, this team is kind of built to play this way. That's why they are the 8 seed. They're not built for the regular season. That team is built to slow it down, come into the half court, and their skill positions. I'm already into the NFL draft. Their playmakers are able to do what they need to do. So this Pistons team is in trouble. I said this Pistons team was in trouble whether or not it was if it was the Hornets. So I'm definitely going to call them in trouble after not just the Magic beat the Hornets, but they played this well.
No, exactly.
And I think, over, but they're in trouble.
No, exactly. And I think just to kind of wrap it up, like obviously this Magic team, if they come up against a team that's good in the half court, have multiple options to kind of go to, they're going to be in trouble. But against a team like the Detroit that's really solely good in transition most times and only has one guy that they can reliably get buckets from, they can make this a series. Absolutely.
All right. Would you?
Hello.
Are we going to move on and go right into our Cavaliers?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Our Cleveland Cavaliers up 2-0 over the Toronto Raptors. And Drew, I don't want to sound like a broken record, and I don't want to repeat myself, but the last time I repeated myself at the beginning of the show, we got made fun of, so I'm going to bring this one back. The Cleveland Cavaliers own the Toronto Raptors in the playoffs. Period. End of story.
Yes, and I want to say something because it's something that I think I wouldn't say goes underlooked, but it's something that I think needs to be said more often. Kobe Altman is one of the best GMs in basketball right now. I truly when he has swung big for players, right?
Yeah.
He has nailed it every single time. And I emphasize it now because when I watched game 1, and obviously it was close in the first half, and then the Cavs kind of ran away with it in the second half. I looked at my friends who were watching the game with me.
Right.
Yeah. I watched I turned to my friends and I went,
Shout out to the Marzinskis.
this team without James Harden potentially loses game 1 of this series, because when you look at the game and how it played out, the key factor was that Donovan Mitchell had a second player to turn to when the defense of the Raptors stepped up and challenged him. Because when you look at the other players, obviously Mobley had a decent night, and Tyson looked abysmal out there. You needed a second playmaker out there to make things happen, to break up that Raptor trap defense. And having that option up for James Harden, I want to give, 1, you credit because you had called for it. And 2, I want to give Kobe Altman credit because the levers that he continues to pull to elevate this team is outstanding. And I don't think that we credit him enough, and I don't think that we can credit other Cleveland GMs enough for doing similar things.
This is such a, first of all, I was kind of at some point fishing for some credit in there. I'm not going to lie. Of course. But this, I'm glad that you haven't just, okay, I agree with you, Ken. You're full. You're in the passenger seat again with me. Okay. You got on the bus late. Stars win championships in the NBA. You need a star. You need a ball handler. You need a ball handler. You need a guy at the end of the day when nothing is working can just say, I'm going to get a bucket. And everyone else on the court says, shit, we can't stop that. You kind of have that in Donovan Mitchell. You have that in James Harden. And the thing about James Harden being lethal at scoring the basketball is it allows Donovan Mitchell to be able to pick his spots. You're not wrong, but I get what you're saying in the second half. It was somewhere around the third quarter, late in the third quarter. We were in the middle of doing something and I stepped away and I stepped back and I went, hey, wait a minute.
We're up 20.
Right. Like this was a close game. And you're 100% right, Drew. This is a game that every other reincarnation of the Donovan Mitchell Cleveland Cavaliers, and because that other team barely made the playoffs, but this is every other reincarnation of this team loses this game. When they started to heat up, the Raptors did, and they started to go into the ISO, and they started to give buckets, and they started to kind of pick apart that Cleveland Cavaliers defense. This team would not have been able to respond with enough. Donovan Mitchell would have tried to respond. Evan Mobley would have tried to respond, but it wouldn't have been enough. James Harden starts hitting step backs. He starts doing James Harden things, and it's over. Then you go into game 2, and the only thing that is going to worry me about this Cavaliers team is we saw during the regular season, the reason this team started to catch fire after the James Harden trade was not just James Harden. It was the additions of other guys like Dennis Schroeder, and they were that bench becoming a real factor. That bench, a little shaky in game 2. I'm gonna need somebody at some point to have a good game. Now, don't get me wrong. When Donovan Mitchell goes off for 30, James Harden goes out for 28, Evan Mobley has 25. That's right. You're gonna win most games. But Dean Wade only 3 points, and then Schroeder 5, Strus 6, Merrill 5, 3. So as long as the points are timely, this bench won't be called upon heavily. But these are long series for a reason. There's, things are going to happen. In one of these games, James Harden's going to get into foul trouble. Donovan Mitchell's going to struggle at struggled shooting, and somebody off that bench is going to have to step up and be a real player. That's my only worry.
You're absolutely right. I want to go back real quick.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was worried about with James Harden was that are the legs still under him? Is this, you know what I mean? Everything. And the fact he can bounce off someone. I don't think he's been able to bounce off someone as well since Chris Paul when he was with the Rockets. That's the last time I think James Harden's been able to actually feed off of someone. Moving on to what
he's
to
an
your
elite
point.
scorer, period. Go ahead.
Elite scorer, period. He just needs someone to feed and him also to feed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What I wanted to get at your point was, I think they're counteracting that potential worry is how they're rotating everybody. Because as you can see, while Max Strus, I would say, fits in with the best 5 of that team, he's not starting. It's Dean Wade. Because Dean Wade is going to be your 5th option on that starting rotation and give you some defensive help. And Max Strus is able to elevate the second group offensively. And you saw that in game 1 when he went absolutely nuclear. You obviously don't need that from him every game. You need some aspect of it. But I think the rotations are going to help with that because you're basically saying, hey, you would be the 3rd or 4th option in the starting rotation. You're going to be the 1st option on the second team. Go spot up, shoot, and give our when our main guys are on the bench, keep the lead. You don't have to expand it. Just keep the lead. And I think that's working so far right now. And I think it's going to continue to work because of how well the second team is defensively with Ellis and Schroeder as well.
The others, as Shaq calls them, the others will have to win you a championship. They're going to help along the way. And as you said, right now, what this bench needs to do, maintain and push, don't blow. Yeah. Don't blow leads, don't maintain leads, push leads, just don't
keep the score where it's at.
Absolutely. But like I said, not now, maybe not in this series, but down the line, one of those guys is going to have to come in and have a big game. We'll move on. We'll get to the 2 series in the East, just like the other 2 series in the West that are all tied up. Drew, hands down. I'll ask the question. Bigger surprise for you. We'll go PTI on it. Knicks and Hawks at 1 apiece, or Celtics and 76ers at 1 apiece. We'll stay in the East.
More surprising that it's 1-1. I'm saying Knicks and Hawks, just because I looked up 3rd quarter in the Knicks game and went, "Oh, this game's over. This game's," and then the Hawks, CJ McCollum specifically dragged this Hawks team and won this game for him. However, more surprising score lines of the games, Celtics 76ers, because neither game has been close. The Celtics blew away the Sixers, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay, Sixers barely got in, Celtics storming." And then the Sixers beat the brakes off the Celtics. And everyone went, "Whoa, is Tyrese Maxey that good that they can potentially do something in this series?" So both are surprising, but in their own way.
So let's circle back to the Knicks and Hawks. Blip on the radar because, hey, not everybody sweeps through a playoff series. Or is there some real concern considering this Knicks team that says, and if you ask Knicks fans, it's time to win a championship, losing to a Hawks team that we all said was going to be tanking.
Yeah.
After they traded away Trae Young. And now are 1-1 in the playoffs while, Trae Young is at home. So is there real concern? Is there real panic in New York?
I wouldn't say panic. I think it's a wake-up call, right? I think after game 1, this Knicks team thought they were going to breeze through the Hawks. They thought the Hawks were just kind of going to go through the motions. And then they realized that this Hawks team can play in Madison Square Garden. CJ McCollum can go off. And I think that's what makes game 3 so important for both teams, because now Atlanta's at home. They're going to have that crowd behind them. And the Knicks have to shut that up right away, right? If you let this Hawks team battle in games 3 and 4, you're going to have yourself a series where now it's not that the Hawks are relying on being on home. They can take a game away. So you have to be at your game every single game in that series now, because now the Hawks can show that they're gonna play every single game. They're not gonna let the Knicks coast to an Eastern Conference semi.
I have to correct you about something from last week, if you don't mind.
It's 7 games. It's 7 games. That's not me. Fully on me. Fully.
Confused the absolute hell out of me.
Absolutely.
Talking like we don't know what's going on. All right, and then now we will get to it. Actually, I'll wrap that up. I agree with you. This is a must-win game for New York, because if they don't win this game, I just don't feel like at some point this run is going to come together. They may be able to squeak out of this series, but I think being stuck in with Atlanta and playing around too much and having this thing go 6-7, I think it's going to be a detriment to this Knicks run. Celtics and 76ers, as you said, bro, neither of these games have been close. Is that it kind of, and I'm going to ask the question, and man, let me not mess this one up. I'm not going to compare any other team to. We talked about it when that Golden State Warriors team won a championship, the last one. That, you know, there was some, all right, we're here in the playoffs. We can turn it on when we need to. Is there a bit of that with Boston where, yeah, I know we didn't win this game, but we know exactly what we need to do to step forward and win a championship? Or is there something not quite right about this team, and the championship return is going to be a little bit tougher than we expected?
I think so. And for the second part, where it's going to be a little tougher, because you obviously have Tatum and Brown, and they're going to get their 20 to 30 a night. And so there's your 50 to 60 points, right? The issue is you don't have a Marcus Smart. You don't have a Kristaps Porzingis. Derek White is good, but he also shot 3 for 12 last night. And so obviously there's times where he's going to not be there for you. And Vucevic has been not great, honestly, the rest of this year. They thought he was going to be a replacement for Porzingis, and he really hasn't been. You are going to need, and you keep bringing up the others here, because you are guaranteed that Tatum and Brown are going to get a minimum 20 points. Minimum, right? However, when you have the rest of them combining, and I can do some quick math here, for 40 points, that's just not going to get it done. Because the Sixers team, while yes, has been underperforming, still has Paul George, Kelly Oubre Jr., Tyrese Maxey, Andre Drummond on the bench. And so they have some depth that they can get you 110, 120 points on a good night. And if you're the Celtics, you need your 3, 4, 5 guys to at least score 10, 12 points. And if they don't, what's going to happen in the series in the last game.
The thing that worries me, and like I said, these are now, yes, they're playoff games. Yes, from one game we can have conversations, but we also have to remember it is a 7-game series. And when you look back at the end of the 7-game series, if it was to go 7, you're going to see a pattern. The puzzle will come together. Okay, yeah, the reason it went 7 was because so-and-so just went off. So-and-so got hurt, this and this. Can the guards of the 76ers, because obviously this is not going to be a Joel Embiid series, can the guards of the 76ers really continue to outplay the guards of the Celtics in the championship winning MVP guards of the Celtics? If that happens, that I can't believe for 7 games that can happen, because that's the strength of this Celtics team. The scary part for me, if I am a Celtics fan, if Philly gets any post play with this guard play, we're in trouble. So there is, I think there's reason for concern for Boston, but the question then is, can VJ Edgecombe and can Tyrese Maxey, can they keep this up? We'll see.
Yeah. And I think the biggest question here, and it's something I think we've asked his entire career, can Paul George be a significant part in this team? Ooh. Because if he can, this is going to be a series, right? Because if you get Paul George clicking, Tyrese Maxey's going to do his thing, and then you have some of the others playing decently well, it's going to be good. But then if you have the Paul George that shoots 8 for 24 a night and doesn't really provide much, this Celtics team is going to be fine.
But, and I'll wrap it up with this, and we'll get to the Western Conference. This thing is 2-2, and you have that Paul George game. Mm-hmm. And if you're a basketball fan, you know what I mean. That true Paul George playoff game, playoff P, and he goes off and they win, and now they're up 3-2. And now all the 76ers need is just another okay game from him. That's scary for the Celtics. So, all right, we will move over to the Western Conference. How about those Suns, Drew? Down 1-0, down 1 game to nothing to the Thunder, but still they're in.
Yeah. However,
there you
scoring 84 points in a playoff game is not the start you want while shooting 35% from the field. Listen, this Thunder team is great. Their defense is elite, and it showed there. 2 players for the Suns starting team had a combined 2 points. And the bench had, I think, like 20, maybe. And so obviously game 1 could be off, but that was a tone setter for this Oklahoma City team. And so obviously we'll see what happens in game 2, but this is what we assumed was going to happen to regardless of whoever played the Thunder.
24 points off the bench total. So yeah,
that was close. 20.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not going to be good. Come on.
They might take 1, but that's going to be a stretch.
If Oklahoma City wants to take a night off, then yes. That's why we were pulling for Golden State for some magical.
Booker scores 70,
right? For some magical Steph Curry magic, but I don't see it happening much there. All right, can we get to one of my favorite results?
We talked about it.
I just want to point out that both the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Lakers up 2-0. Yes, Drew, my Los Angeles Lakers up 2-0 on the Houston Rockets. Bron and Bronny getting it done.
Listen, I'm gonna put this out here now. There's no way you're gonna debate me that a 41-year-old man is carrying a team through a playoff series right now and averaging, I think, 24, 10, and 8. What is there to debate about the greatness here? It's
argue with your mama.
Ridiculous.
I mean, we'll talk about, I guess I was about to start with game 2. I guess I should start with game 1. I mean, this is they got a good complete performance from the starting 5. Not much coming off the bench, and we did talk about that. But I mean, LeBron had 19 and 13 assists, or 19 points, 13 assists, 8 rebounds. Achimura had 14. DeAndre Ayton went 19 and 11 in game 1. Marcus Smart with 15. There's your playoff experience that we talked about. Kennard 27 points. And then when you go into game 2, I mean, LeBron James, like you said, at this age, at this stage of his career, to go out and have 28, 8, and 7. Marcus Smart, 25 points, playoff experience. The way Luke Kennard is playing right now, 23 points, 3 for 6 from the 3-point line, 8 for 13 in game 2. The problem, once again, though, 6 points off the bench from Jackson Hayes. Bronny James, only 3 minutes, no points. That's going to be a struggle. I mean, you're apparently going to be able to do that and beat the Rockets. but that's not going to work going forward. However, I don't care. Lakers in 4.
No, I think they have the talent in the starting 5 to beat this Rockets team in a series. The issue is, what are those legs going to be able to do against a Thunder team when they've been playing 40 minutes a night basically the entire series, and this Thunder team has been able to rotate because they've been blowing out the Suns by 20 every night. So they can get. I think they can get through this series. I think they can win this series. It's going to be a tough one in round 2.
Monster, imposter, crab linguine with lobster, Lakers in 4.
We're gonna move on from that because I don't like any of that.
Drew, what did I say last week? Which series did I say would be the most fun in the entire playoffs?
The one we're about to talk about?
Absolutely. Nuggets and Wolves tied at 1 apiece. Drew, which heavyweight is going to land the knockout blow? Both of these games, I wouldn't say have been lopsided. Game 1, a bit lopsided towards Denver. Game 2, a good game back and forth. This thing's going 7, right?
It's at least going 6. I think that it truly depends on because Denver doesn't look any different from game 1 to game 2. Minnesota just turned it on in game 2 and was able to do it. The issue is, it's what are you going to get from this Wolves team game to game? Because Edwards, while still getting 20, that 20 isn't enough with the roster. And so he can get the 30 to 40 that you need him some nights, but not every night. Julius Randle having a good but not great series so far. Same with DiVincenzo and Gobert. And so if you look at the Nuggets, right, Jamal Murray having an amazing series, Jokic having a series, obviously, that we know him to have, and then Gordon and everyone else doing well. It solely depends on how this Timberwolves team can play game to game. And I think that favors the Nuggets because I think they're more consistent. However, I think this Timberwolves team is good enough to push this out, like I said, to at least 6 games.
All right, so 100% agree with what you just said about the disparity between the two teams, because if you look in game 1, Jamal Murray 30 points, Jokic 25 and 13 and 11, Aaron Gordon 17. When you jump over to game 2, you've got Aaron Gordon with only 8, but Jokic with 24 and 15, Murray with 30, Braun with 16. A little disparate, but for the most part going on. Okay, game 1 for Minnesota, Julius Randle goes out and has 16 points. McDaniels has 16. Rudy Gobert has 17 and 10, and they lose because you get 22 from Edwards. But then we get into game 2. I get 30 and 10 from Anthony Edwards. I get 24 and 9 from Julius Randle. Now I'm in here. McDaniels gives me 14. DiVincenzo gives me 16. Rudy Gobert goes out and plays 28 minutes in a playoff game and gives me 2 points and 7 rebounds. I'll leave
defensive asset.
I will leave that for Shaq and Charles Barkley because I will not touch that. I don't need to get involved with that. But when you get playoff Julius Randle and you mix it in with playoff Anthony Edwards, the heights in which they can play, they can beat this Nuggets team. Can they do it for 4 games? If they only do it for 3, they don't win the series. If they can do it because they have no room for error, they have got to take that step up or they're not going to win. The Nuggets, if they just grind out what they do, they're going to win.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
All right. And last but not least, I mean, you could, this is not unarguably the most surprising result on the Western Conference side, maybe in the entire NBA. Spurs and Trailblazers tied at 1 game apiece.
This Spurs team ain't that good when Wemby's not on the court, are they?
You don't say.
Yeah, I gotta look up the split, like the plus minus split Wemby on and off the court, and I will while you're talking about it. But yeah, this team turned super one-dimensional offensively, and the Trailblazers just were able to completely out-transition this Spurs team because Wemby was not on the court.
Yeah.
And that's what led to the comeback there. And that's asking a lot of questions now is, how reliant are the Spurs on Wemby being available now when now that he has a concussion for the rest of the series?
So, and is it how the concussion protocol is for how long?
I'm not 100%. I think he's a game time decision for the next game.
Okay, so when you go back to game one, I mean Wemby 35, 35 and 5. He is the most dynamic player I've ever seen in the NBA in my lifetime of watching, just because of the fact that he is that tall, can shoot, can dribble, can post up, can block, can defend, gets out in transition on both offense and defense. He's a my player from 2K. He's not real. Like it's unreal what he can do on the court. So I don't blame the Spurs for being one-dimensional when he is out. My problem is, Drew, we talked about the guard play of the and I screamed about it because we had to give them credit to the way De'Aaron Fox and Vassell and Stephon Castle were all playing. If they were to play like that with the way Wemby was playing, the Spurs team could win a championship. All I'm asking you is to beat a Trailblazers team that is not that good.
No.
That
Scoot Henderson scoring 31 is unacceptable.
And if you can't do that, then this team may not win a championship even if Wemby's playing at his full potential. Because if you can't carry this team against the Trailblazers, Wemby's going to have to just have outstanding games to win it all. And I mean, I know they're all-star games and things like that, but we've seen Wemby when his teammates are not there to help him. He can only do so much. You can only rely on so much from that man. So that's a bit disappointing from this Spurs team.
No, I think you're right. I think there wasn't an elevation of these guards when Wemby went out. They kind of did what they normally do when Wemby's like playing, and it wasn't good enough. I did look up the stat here, and Victor Wembanyama, since the All-Star break, has the highest plus-minus when he is on the court at 26.3 point differential. Obviously, that is being fully on display here. And I think if you are the Spurs, you have to have a game plan set in motion if he is not to play. Because you obviously cannot, as you can see, cannot run your offense normally when he is off the court, because it's losing you games, and it's losing you important games.
They better get him back. End of story. All right, Drew. Do you have anything else to wrap up with on this NBA playoff side?
I am glad these games are fun and even. I am glad that it's not just all 1, 2, 3, and 4 beating 5, 6, 7, and
8. Here's my thing. While you are watching these NBA games, I'm just gonna listen. WrestleMania was this weekend. First things first, acknowledge him. Second, yeah, it was mid. Day 2 better than day 1, but mid.
Agreed.
Mix in some NHL playoffs along the way, because these hockey games have been amazing. If you would like me to update you on what's going on in the NHL playoffs, I can't. Okay, because the way this works for me is I turn the YouTube TV on. When I can find one of the boxes that has the hockey game mixed in, I just put the hockey game on. It doesn't matter the hockey game. I watch all the hockey games. So I don't know what's going on, but just turn them on anyways, okay? It's good sports.
Yeah. And if you want us to talk about it on the show, put it in the comments, put it on our page. And listen, we're going to talk about what you guys want to listen to. So if you guys want us to talk about playoff hockey, tell us to talk about playoff hockey.
I watch enough of it. I could talk about it.
I
have been enjoying.
Yeah, right. Hook last night.
Oh my man! I was looking up from doing stuff and was like, "Oh, we're fighting. I'm watching."
Yeah.
All right then, Drew. It's time. I'm ready. You're not.
It's not Super Bowl. It's not Super Bowl. It's fine.
It's the Cleveland Browns Super Bowl. It is time for the Straub Sports Show 2026 NFL Draft Preview, presented by the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids. I got nothing.
Allstate.
Presented by Schmoopy Sweets and Treats, which
here we go.
Paula is back on Facebook with Schmoopy Sweets and Treats. So get your butt on there, search, go get you some baked goods. Drew, I'm good. I have what I have. You have what you have. Would you like to start? Do you have team stuff or do you just have Brown stuff? How do you take it over, bro? This is
So
your
I
stuff.
just have Brown stuff.
Okay.
Let's get through that, and then we'll ask the good questions after.
Well, then, because I have my Cowboy stuff as well, and then we'll ask our
Exactly.
draft. So that works for me.
All right. So I'll start it off. Obviously, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It was nice for like 2 years that we didn't have to worry about the draft as much as we do now. Listen, it's a big one. Obviously, I've expressed my thoughts here. I'm not key on a quarterback this year. I don't think the class is good enough to be taking one where we're at. However, I think a lot of offensive improvement should be the defining stature of this draft. And we're going to talk about it with my first 2 picks here. I went back and forth for months, and Ken can attest to this. I did mock drafts, I did reviews, because one, the offense needs so much help, but the 2 true places that we need help are wide receiver and offensive tackle. And so, as we can look here are the options that I have gone through since this entire time. Your pick 1, you have your 2 offensive tackles and your 3 wide receivers. And then pick 2, you have your 3 wide receivers and 3 offensive tackles. This right here is my rankings of how I think the Browns should draft based on where they're at. So if Francis Mauigoa is available, they should pick him, yada, yada. So going through countless mock drafts, this is how I believe the Browns should draft. With pick number 1, thank you. Francis Mauigoa is already going to be gone, unfortunately, through every mock draft that I've seen and gone through. So, because of the surplus of wide receivers, I think in the back half, Spencer Fano, the offensive tackle for Utah, is, I think, the pick that we should go with. And for those that I think want to trade back to like their early teens, that's where he's projected. So if you don't want to reach and you want to trade with, say, the Cowboys, who have been talked about as a potential trade partner, that's someone that I think we should go for. And then with pick number 2, the best wide receiver off who is still available, right? If that's Casey Conception, which I think might be there, them, if not Denzel Boston, and then obviously if not Omar Cooper Jr. Now, you could be saying, Andrew, I completely disagree. Their wide receivers at the top of the draft are too good to pass up. I got you. If that's what you want to go with, I think Carnell Tate is your number 1 pick for your pick number 6. And then, because we've already taken a receiver, there is a plethora of tackles down in the bottom of the one. I don't think they're as good as the top 2, obviously. And I think that the top 2 are the really only ones with an all-pro projection to them. However, Caleb Lomu, very versatile, very mobile. And I think that's who you would take with pick number 2. Ken, I gave people both options there for taking an offensive tackle first, a wide receiver first. I prefer offensive tackle, but I can see both. Any thoughts before I move on? See, I gave people options. Here.
So I love you. Part of loving you is loving that you are a Browns fan, as well as our father, who, yes, there are rumors of the Browns and Cowboys. Of course, it wouldn't be a good NFL season if there wasn't some Browns and Cowboys in the mix. So you have our resident, one of my best friends, my Browns friend listening. You have Pops listening, his Browns fan, Browns Nation listening. And I love the analytics and I love the breakdown. And I love, hey, listen, we've got to, there's depth. If y'all don't just go get the best damn players, like
that's what this is, though.
I get you. There's some real top talent at wide receiver in that first round.
Yes, there is.
And
Yes, there
you are
is.
deprived. You have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL.
I agree.
Put some talent in that room, man. And
What
if that
I'm
means,
what I'm saying.
and hold on. And what I've seen recently is, for the most part, these guys in the first round, these are the guys you got to go get. So I understand, and I know you got them circled. I know you have Tate circled. You have got no playing around. Go get a real bona fide star to put with Shador and see what you got. We'll talk later on down the. Almost knocked my water over. Well, Brown's got me fired up. We'll talk later down the line about quarterback, and we'll figure that out. But you go get the best damn players. And I'm not saying you didn't say that. I'm just reiterating that point. Go get the best damn players. Don't try to be cute.
And I absolutely agree with you. What I also want to contest with is, while yes, our receiving core was terrible last year, I looked through countless postseason rankings of offensive linemen. We averaged 31st in our offensive linemen, and we lost all of them anyways. So what I'm saying is, while we also need receivers, we desperately need offensive linemen. And this is considered one of the weakest offensive lineman classes since like 2015. So if you're not going to get the top guy or the top two guys, it's going to be very hard to have some good pieces drafted later on in the draft. And that is why I want us to prioritize top level talent for linemen versus one of the most stacked receiver classes in the past 5 years.
Hi, Mom.
Hello.
All I can do, listen, your draft philosophy can be definitely altered by the fact that your team is either bad, good, in the middle. Okay. This Cowboys team has been complete mid damn near my entire life. So correct. Finding the underrated guys and not jumping on necessarily a name has helped us. You guys have been in the sewer for so long, man. Go get some stars. My thing is, I understand what you're saying, but don't miss on a Justin Jefferson because you want to try to get the best of the mid ass. And I'm saying mid way too much this show. You want to go get the best of a lineman class. Go get Justin Jefferson.
Before my last slide, I'm gonna just ask this one question. Ken, what's the most under-deserving position in the NFL?
I want to say hi to Mom first. Hi, Mom. Love you. Go ahead.
Offensive line. Moving on. Finally, just wrapping this up real quick, because obviously I do my 7-rounder here. Pick number 3, one of those cornerbacks is going to be available. Take them. They're studs. We need to reply there. Pick number 4, I want that offensive line from Georgia Tech, but I'll take the wide receiver from Georgia. Number 5, a center named Jake Slaughter is one. He's a great player, but are you kidding me? That would be absolutely fantastic. Following that up, VJ Payne. They're amazing and perfect fits for us. VJ Payne is known to play the single high safety, and our defensive coordinator is going to play a lot of cover 1 with the single high, so he would fit in well there. Torian York is a dog that can play coverage from Texas A&M, which we desperately need. Schlesinger, a great tackler, a little iffy in coverage. I think Torian York fills that other side of the gap for linebacker. Pick number 8, Jeff Caldwell, homer pick here. However, he is tested out of the gym in everything he has done, and he's been fantastic. And finally, Riley Nowakowski from Indiana, a solid tight end that is blocks very well, but 2 is that turn and sit and get you a 3rd and 5 kind of tight end, which I think is really helpful for a young quarterback. So that is the rest of the draft there. Let me know what the relative Browns fans think of that there.
Bring back the slaughterhouse. QB under Slaughter. They love it. Browns Nation is sold. This will be officially what I will be looking for in the draft come for the Browns to see if they will do that. I'm gonna just point something out. First of all, excuse me. This is why your color scheme sucks, because your graphic is almost impossible to read.
It was good making it. Looking at it, it just didn't transition well.
There's no quarterback on that list.
There was, and I said this from the jump. Retool every other aspect of your team. Let Shador, Watson, somebody play under it. Basically tell these quarterbacks, we are giving you the best team possible with what we were able to get. If you can't succeed, we're moving on from you. There's no more second, third, fourth, fifth chances.
You are such a tortured soul. Like, listen, everybody knows if you are new to the Straub Sports Show, I'll clue you in. We are Team Deion Sanders. Well, I am Team Deion Sanders. I am Team Shador. I think the kid deserves a chance. So I'm cool. I am okay with this. Okay. I 100% believe this kid can be an NFL quarterback. I think I think your team was not your team. I think your coach was actively working against him. Sure. I don't think your coach wanted him. I think it was a complete mess. I think he had no weapons either. The Judkins getting hurt was just absolutely just horrific for them too. It's a little safety blanket. The fact that you even say Watson scares me for you as
he's been brought up a bunch in this offseason though.
I can't believe in my heart of hearts that Deshaun Watson is going to just step in and be back to what he was. No. I think the shoulder is completely compromised. I think the man's mind is completely done with football. So the fact that you're even mentioning his name scares me. Now, if that literally means we're going to trot him out for the first couple of weeks of training camp, take a look, and then cut bait, all right, cool. But if you're telling me that you legitimately think that Deshaun Watson is going to be your starting quarterback come week 1, I'm scared for the Cleveland Browns.
No, I think the truth is, right, every quarterback in the past 3 or 4 years after Baker has been able to come in and say, I have no offense to play around, right? And so that's the excuse that Watson, Shador, Gabriel, everyone is going to use for how bad their quarterback play was. You give them a legit offense to play through and they still struggle, then there's no more excuses. Watson's off his deal after this year. Shador and Gabriel, we can cut off their rookie contracts or trade for a pick, right? There's no more excuses. And that's why I don't want to bring another quarterback into the mix and blurry the water even more like we did last year.
I am okay with that in terms of I don't want to go draft one. I think you should just give the reins over to Shador completely. And I think that you should just roll from there.
I agree. However, you're still going to give Watson a look because he's on your roster and you paid him a crap ton of money. You got to give him a look at the very least.
I got you. All right. Now for a much easier to read graphic.
Yes, because blue and white are very easy to read on each other.
How about them Cowboys? It is time for your Dallas Cowboy draft needs, and we'll start with the top. New ownership? No. False. These Cowboys have historically drafted well despite the meddling of the owner, the GM, the coach, the running back, Jerry Jones. This is a team that has drafted some big names when you talk about the CeeDee Lambs and the Ezekiel Elliott's. But then you're talking about other gems. You're talking about picking up Rain Dakota Prescott in the 6th round. You're talking about taking a gamble on Zach Martin in the 1st round. I know he was a top talent, but instead of Johnny Manziel, a team that's drafted CeeDee Lamb, Jason Witten, Tony Romo. This is a team that drafts well, despite the fact that we could play. No, I can't say that. You don't like when I use that joke. Despite the fact that this team lives rent-free in your head, all of your heads. This is short and sweet for me, Drew. There's only 3 positions there up on the draft board for me because they are the 3 most important positions for these teams to fill. And yes, now I'm going to point this out.
I think he makes that comment every year at the draft.
What?
it becomes okay. And I'm going to bring up the comment real quick.
Yes, he does. Go ahead.
And I will defend you here. You have said repeatedly you will crap on Ohio State and the Buckeyes. You love you some Buckeyes in the NFL. And you specifically, not just the Cowboys, you specifically.
Love me some Buckeyes in the NFL, not gonna lie. The fan base is what the real beef comes between me and Ohio State. But
yes.
No, I'm not. Listen, when it comes draft time. Now, this is who experts, Cowboys Nation, writers within the Dallas Cowboys media, around the media, believe are the targets for the Cowboys. I'm okay with as long as I see the position get filled, I am more excited than anything else. Okay. Yes, I would like some big names, but these aren't necessarily big name positions in this draft. Right. Cowboys, Steelers, everyone but the damn Browns until Judkins. Yeah. I mean, and Zeke.
Denzel Ward was a Brown. Let's get that right.
What I've been most proud of is when we have drafted some Notre Dame guys. Shout out to Zach Martin. Shout out to Jalen Smith as well. Linebacker, first and foremost. I mean, if Sonny Styles is there, if we can go get him, if there's a way to get him, please go get him. Averill Reese of OSU as well. CJ Allen of Georgia. Anthony Hill Jr. of Texas. Those other two names, not necessarily obviously in the first round, but at some point in the draft. Cornerback. Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. Mansour Delane from LSU, somebody I am very high on, and Domani Jackson of Alabama, another top target. Listen, we no longer have whatever his name is. I can't even remember now. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was a little bit of everything. He was a good linebacker. He was a good edge rusher as well. With Diggs with Diggs gone, Bland hurt, and Micah Parsons gone, this defense needs help. It needs help at linebacker, it needs corner, and it needs help at edge rusher. So David Bailey of Texas Tech, Mason Rieger of Wisconsin, names you might be familiar with. But this Cowboys team needs to draft heavy early on top defensive talent. Then I would like to see them add to the wide receiver room and add to the offensive line. The one thing I will say that I would like to see us, this is where I think the Browns and the Cowboys are opposite. Browns, go get you a Justin Jefferson, go get you a top guy. Cowboys, find a guy when it fits in later on that can bring in, have talent, fill in some depth, maybe a slot guy, maybe a deep ball guy, whatever it might be. The one thing I do trust for this team is I would love to see this team go linebacker, edge rush, corner, or however, but getting Sonny and then roll from there. I trust this team to mix in an offensive lineman in between these defensive guys because that's what we do. So until it doesn't work, I'm not going to believe that it won't. So this is what I want. I want a heavy defensive draft, mix in an offensive lineman, mix in a wide receiver, and I think we're good to go.
I know. I think you're absolutely right. I think you go linebacker. One, I think there's a much better, I think, top of the class for linebacker than the other two. I think cornerback and edge rusher have much more value in day 2, early day 3 rounds. I think that's where you can get those two. But I think you're absolutely right. I think for the Cowboys, especially, defense is just in general, but for you, the players you pick are very going to be based on scheme and style in terms of what you need specific. Because for linebacker, you need a thumper, right? You need someone that's going to fly, plug a gap, and tackle the running back or something like that. And so for my advice to, I guess, to the Cowboys is if your guy is there, even if that means you trade up to get him, even if that's the first round, go get your guy. Go get an Arvell Reese or a Sonny Styles, even if you have to trade up to get him, if you are 100% sure that he is perfect for your defense. Because truly, you are a defense away, even an above average defense away from getting into the conference championship or even potentially a Super Bowl. And if you can fill that with some guys on the defense because they fit your scheme perfectly, and they are also a high talent, that is worth giving up a few extra draft picks and maybe only picking 6 guys in this draft instead of 7, 8, 9.
The problem I have with that, number one, you are right in the aspect of there is no Micah Parsons right now in this draft. No disrespect to any of the defensive guys. So scheme, because I do 100% agree with you. Guys into this scheme that can just bring maybe that average down a couple points is the difference between this team not having fun and making fun of me at the end of the season with playoff chances, us talking about first round buys potentially, or Cowboys are locked in. The problem I have with that is it matches up with some PTSD with the one thing that the Cowboys do that do drive me insane in the drafts. When the Cowboys let the pick fall to them, they usually take the right guy. When we have moved up recently, I don't believe it has worked very well. So that's what worries me. When you say, well, go get Sonny, well, this is where we messed it up because all of a sudden we're going to move up and grab somebody different. So that's
fair.
All right. Much quicker, a little smoother than yours. Love you though. You're the nerd.
A little better visuals on the graphic, but I was a little bit more in depth, and that's the difference between us. You're short and sweet. I like the deep dives.
Short, but hot takes, stats. That's what we do. Now, Browns are out of the way.
12.
The number 12. And the Cowboys are out of the way. Yeah, I didn't mention that we have the number 12 pick. Sorry.
That is Sonny Styles' range, I will say.
We need a couple things to happen. The NFL draft isn't just for the Browns and the Cowboys. It's for everybody else as well. So, Drew, I have some Big Bros NFL draft questions. We'll start with number 1. Is Fernando Mendoza the clear number 1 pick? Are we sure? And that ties into the Straub Sports Show. Poll question of the day. Is Fernando...
Someone knows where the widgets are.
Is Fernando Mendoza worthy of the number 1 overall pick? I found the widgets. Drew, answer my question.
So, in this draft, in a terribly weak quarterback draft where he is the national champion and the number 1 overall pick, has literally nobody at quarterback. Yes. Any other draft, I think it's very different in how we rate Fernando Mendoza because we've ranked national championship winning quarterbacks differently depending on the draft. This one specifically, yes. However, the poll question, is he worthy of it? I say no. Because I don't think Fernando Mendoza has the tools and abilities to be worthy of a number 1 overall pick, which is defined as a franchise-changing pick.
First things first, I got a message already about your short and sweet comment, so I wasn't the only one who took offense to it, okay? Because that was
whatever. I love you. It's fine.
I love you too. Fernando Mendoza is the number 1 pick.
Yes.
Because I almost called them Oakland, because the Las Vegas Raiders are in desperate need of a franchise quarterback. And right now, because he won the Heisman and he won the national championship, he is considered the franchise guy.
Yes.
I'm going to get to Ray's question at the end, but so there's that part. Is he worthy of being the number 1 pick? Man, he is lucky he's in this draft. He's lucky and we'll touch on it on my last question, but he's lucky that some of these other quarterbacks didn't have the great years, because if they did and he just happened to just fight and grind it out and win, but these other guys were lighting it up, he 100% would not be the number 1 pick. There is a hype train, and listen, I'm not trying to knock this kid because until he gets drafted tomorrow, he's still a kid. Okay. So I'm not trying to knock him, but there was a hype train around him, rightfully so, The kid won the Heisman. He won the national trophy. But that hype will ride you to the draft. It doesn't win you games in the NFL.
Correct. And also, you have guys like Ruben Bain, Arvell Reese, that if Mendoza maybe doesn't win the national championship or finishes second in the Heisman, they could be easily going number one. I think a lot has been going for Fernando Mendoza that is helping him here. But that's also a very good question. I think he deserves it more than Fernando Mendoza did, because I think Cam Ward had more actual, like, natural talent and an upside than Mendoza does. I think the accolades carried Mendoza to this clear number one. He might still be in the top in the conversation, if not for those. But I think clear and worthy are two very different things.
I stand on Cam Ward was the clear and above number one pick for me. So
I agree.
Tennessee is terrible, and that's not his fault. I think Cam Ward 100% deserved it. I think Cam Ward had a more complete skill set. Fernando Mendoza was the flashy guy who won the Heisman and the national championship. If Cam Ward had this Miami team this year and led that team to the national championship and was neck and neck with Fernando Mendoza, we would not have been talking about that. Cam Ward throws like Bernie swings a chair. If you know, you know. Oh my Lord, Bernie. All right, we'll move on to my second question. It's not necessarily draft related, but it's been heavily rumored to take place during the NFL draft. Would the blockbuster rumored A.J. Brown to the Patriots trade actually help Philly's draft more than it will actually hurt their football team? Yes. I could be wrong, but I'm just asking the question.
I'd say yes. This Philly wide receiver room, while obviously would take down a notch without A.J. Brown, it's still really good, right? And the focal point is not the receivers, it is Saquon Barkley, and also the movement of Jalen Hurts, and also the tight ends. This whole offense is very good, and I think A.J. Brown is a surplus for what they're going to get from the Pats. Oh, and another point to that, now your draft picture becomes so much clearer, because you're not worried about, is AJ going to stay? Do we have the backfill for him? What do we have to think about what we're going to get compensated for him? It's all good. All those questions have been answered now. You're down a receiver. You might want to grab one to backfill in the later rounds while you fill everything else up. And you're going to get compensated next year for these picks that are going to be coming in. So I think this was a match that initially looked like it was going to work. It turned sour, and I think needs to happen. And now Philly can draft knowing that he's not going to be on the team, and that makes your draft needs a lot more clear.
When you ask a question and you get a thoughtful response that isn't necessarily the response you're looking for, you need to tweak your question. In the aspect of A.J. Brown, everything you guys are saying is correct. Okay. If we're only talking about A.J. Brown, I think it's also fair to point out this will be the second place that he's kind of wanted out of. Yes, it happened in Tennessee. I understand the winning wasn't there, dysfunctional, all of that. But now you're into Philly. You've won a Super Bowl. Even during the Super Bowl run, you were complaining. It's never really worked fully. Yeah. So now we're going to be on our third stop, and that's going to be concerning. Not only that, what you said is also correct. This Philly team is not a passing-oriented game or a team. What I kind of was also leaning on with my question, though, was the bigger picture for Philly. The reason Kansas City was able to win after they traded away Tyreek Hill, the reason the Seahawks were able to almost win that second Super Bowl with that Russell Wilson team, the reason the Patriots were able to have a dynasty was because they were able to take assets that were on the way out, turn them into draft picks, and use those draft picks to fill the holes to keep a championship team on a great level to never dip down. When you're bad, You have to hit home runs on top picks because you have to put the stars in to fill then to get the role players.
Yeah.
Okay. Or have a team full of role players, then go get your stars. Either way, you have to have that. Once you've established that and you've won, it's maintenance. It's plugging guys in. It's getting younger guys in for your older guys. It's getting young talent in for guys who are about to max out contracts that you can't afford to spend all around. Kansas City, we've talked about it, has fallen off because the drafting hasn't been good enough to sustain the loss of those guys. Philly was about to be there, in my opinion. They were about to hit that. Now, with a team that, without a doubt, and I gave my Cowboys some love, the Eagles have drafted phenomenally. Okay? They have really hit on defense. They have made the offense work. Now this team can look and go, okay, well, wait a minute. We won with A.J. Brown having good games and bad games. But now what if I help this defense out that's losing guys and I got 2 wide receivers that could make up at some point, or a wide receiver and a tight end? Now there's more assets to fill in a team that was already really good. Don't get me wrong, A.J. Brown is a damn good top wide receiver in the NFL. However, you don't need 2 of those guys to win in the NFL. So if they can get enough out of Devontae Smith, and if they can then fill in the rest of that, and Saquon is Saquon, with the defense that they already had retooled, this team could be right on the doorstep of another Super Bowl next year. So it's a major loss, but it can absolutely be turned into a gain if this front office does what it's done.
You're absolutely right. It's a net positive in the end.
All right.
I take exception to this question, but I want you to say it first.
100% it was lightweight a shot at you. I love you. And that was just the running back I thought of because I couldn't really think
of it. And I'm going to defend it. And I'm going to defend it too. I don't care if the Joker now. I'm going to defend it.
That's fine. Is Jeremiah Love the next game-changing running back in Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy, or college hype that may not turn out so well, Ashton Jeanty? I softened it.
Fair. I want to say real quick, we talked about the Browns having the 31st worst offensive line. In that same look, the Las Vegas Raiders were so bad in run blocking that even though they are the 25th in pass blocking, they are still overall 32nd in blocking because of how bad they were in run blocking. So I'm giving Jaunty a full pass on this year. That's just my 2 cents. However, speaking at the question at hand, I think it plays hand in hand with what I just said because we know Saquon with the Giants, very, very good, got hurt a lot because of usage. Ashton Jaunty, a lot of talent, couldn't get going until the back half of the year because he had to adjust to such a bad offensive line. It is, and Ray is talking about my point specifically. While not solely dependent, it is very dependent on where he goes because Jeremiah Love, while a top talent that could rival potentially Saquon, in my opinion, because of how good he is, that position is very dependent on the people around him. How good the quarterback is, and if they don't have to run so often, how good the line is, so that so that he can get past that first line. How good the receivers are at blocking, so he can get to that second, third level. He's going to be a good running back, just baseline. How high he goes is based on where he gets drafted.
You are a staunch Ashton Jaunty guy. You will always be. That will be your guy from this point forward. You will forever mention on the show the year he should have won the Heisman.
Should have won it.
Jeremiah Love is a more complete NFL running back than Ashton Jaunty. Ashton Jaunty had a great career. He's a great runner. He almost reminds me of Chris
Johnson.
Yeah, Chris Johnson.
Yes,
Okay.
I absolutely agree.
He will hit home runs, but I don't know if he's an every down back. Jeremiah Love can do it all. He catch and run, go out a wide receiver, block. He can hit the hole. He can push through guys. The run against Penn State in the college football semis is one of the greatest college football short yardage runs I've ever seen in my life. I don't care. Argue with your mama. I actually argue with your auntie because my mama will agree. I don't need to tell you much more about how good he is. I did it all year and for 2 years.
Yes, you did.
I know. But I 100% agree with you guys. This is what I was worried about. I was worried about him getting Ashton Jonty and ending up on a team with a horrible offensive line and him taking hits and trying to do too much and trying to cut when he should have just gone down and getting a knee hurt and something happening because he doesn't have help. And then there's also part of me that thinks he could be like Saquon Barkley and walk into that Giants team and go, it don't matter how good your offensive line is. I'm just that damn good. I hope he goes somewhere good. I hope he does not go to Washington because that is a very, very highly rumored place. And that would absolutely just destroy me because then he's just going to destroy my Cowboys year in and year out. And that is just going to hurt my feelings way too much for this show and I'll quit. But I would love for him to go somewhere. I want him to go somewhere good because I really want Jeremiah Love to be an absolute monster in the NFL. I actually don't know if it matters.
I think it matters to an extent. I agree with you on the John T. and Chris Johnson comparison, where I think John T. would, absolutely. He would benefit so much with a change of pace back, right? The same way Kareem Hunt does. And I think that's another good comparison to a lesser extent, where if you have that bulldozer back, running backs like John T. and Kareem Hunt and Chris Johnson feast, right? Because the defense is tired and slower because they are so used to the other down back. Where I agree, Jeremiah Love can be that bruiser, but he can be a home run hitter, but he can be a pass catching back. And so those are very, very few and far between running backs, but he's still a running back that's going to be dependent on the team that drafts him. And I've been hearing a lot of Tennessee as well. And Tennessee also didn't have a great offensive line either. They do have Cam Ward, but the line really hurt Cam Ward last year. And if they don't also draft well on the offensive line, you could see similar things happen in Jeremiah Love's first year.
That would be, if they could start to get it together, that would be really fun to have Cam Ward and Jeremiah Love in Tennessee making things happen. Washington would be really, really, really scary with what they're putting together. I've also Kansas City. I know I keep mentioning them, but for them to have to try to maybe move up a little bit to try to get him potentially, that could be scary as well.
You mentioned it a little bit. Wouldn't it be the most Jerry Jones thing ever to trade up with us if he was available and take Jeremiah Love?
I mean, all right.
I know you want defense.
10 minutes ago, I just told you that when we trade up, it usually does not go well. If the dude, when we had a chance to draft Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, I was screaming because he's the Jason Witten type and we had the chance to replace. If they go up and get my Notre Dame running back, I'm in. The jersey will be bought. It's over. We'll add to the collection. We're done and it's over with. All right, we'll move on to my last question because this is one that Ray did mention earlier. I have to try to find it.
This is why Ray asked what pick you had, because he wanted to know what pick we'd be getting if we were to trade.
So if you guys like 12, let me move up and get Jeremiah Love. Drew.
I'll take Spencer Fano. Absolutely not.
Is this now an underrated quarterback class after the massive drop in media coverage and love compared to the preseason hype and rankings of all of these quarterbacks? And I do have a list of them as well, so I am prepared.
Yeah, no, I have a thing up here. I think it is a little underrated. you have obviously guys like Nussmeier, Beck, Simpson, Alar, Cole Payton, the North Dakota State quarterback, Altmaier, Klubnik, who is just free falling since his #1 QB rating
Haynes
the year
King,
prior.
Joey
Haynes King.
Aguilar, Joey Fagano.
You have a lot of potential here. And I think you can't say that in a lot of other drafts where I think you had your top 3 or 4 quarterbacks, right? That were, they're going to be here, they might get here. And the rest were, you're going to get here at most, right? And that was most of it. A lot of these quarterbacks are starting here, but I think have the potential to get up to these spots just because we've seen flashes from them, right? We're not talking about a quarterback from Purdue that had a pretty okay career but hasn't shown any flashes. We're seeing guys like Cade Klubnik, like I said, Garrett Nussmeier, Ty Simpson, Drew Lar, that have shown that they have elite level talents. And if a quarterback coach or a team or somebody can just make that more consistent, they can be a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's just a lot of big what ifs. And that's why they're rated so poorly. But I agree. I think, yes, this is an underrated QB class.
First of all, you were absolutely right. That is exactly why Ray asked what pick I had. There is a real potential for this. No, not potential. This draft is going to split, I think, into 2 complete different directions. We don't know which one it is. Now, I'm not the biggest draft historian because I'm not going to lie to you. I just put the NFL draft up for 3 days and I just have fun and I watch and I remember all the guys that I watched in college get drafted, look for Notre Dame players and watch who the Browns and the Cowboys draft. So I can't tell you which draft to compare this to, but I will say this. This draft is either going to be remembered as the Fernando Mendoza draft because he goes #1, he becomes that guy, and he has the historic career. Because of the massive, and this is normally the hype will ride throughout the season, but unfortunately, these guys' play didn't allow the hype to continue. I mean, you did your quarterback list. You were putting some fun names up there for a reason at some point because a lot of these top guys weren't performing week in and week out. So we get this massive hype, and now we have this just complete drop off. It's Fernando Mendoza. All the rest of these guys aren't as good. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. They have skill sets, but can it translate to the NFL? That is the best thing that could ever happen to the rest of the quarterbacks in this class. So yes, we could have the Fernando Mendoza draft. This could also be remembered as a Ryan Leaf type draft where the Peyton Manning of this draft, all the other guys, I found it, all the other guys that are drafted after him have these successful careers. Maybe it's Nussmeier, maybe it's Ty Simpson, maybe it's Carson Beck or Luke Altmaier, Haynes King, like you said, Klubnik, Joey Aguilar, Joey Fagano. Maybe it's one of these couple of guys that have the great careers, playoff runs, Super Bowls and Pro Bowls. And we look at this draft and go, how did we miss on those guys? And nobody will talk about it at first, but it'll be this right here. It's the fact that we had such a dip in a weird season in which Fernando took off.
Yeah.
And was the clear away best player in college football. But the rest of these guys, we should have remembered. The hype was there because we saw skill set. We saw the throws. We saw the movement in the pocket. A bad year in college doesn't take those skills away. So this draft could go one of 2 ways, but I agree with you. Not only is it underrated, this class, it is the best thing possible, I'll say it again, that could have happened to these guys because now they're all going to get drafted. Some of them are going to go to spots that are where quarterback is a need. But a bunch of these guys are now going to get drafted under the radar and go and sit and go and learn where they would have had the hype if we had carried what Nussmeier had and what some of these other guys had at Drew Lar had at the beginning of the year.
I think you're absolutely right. I think to wrap this up real quick, I use a website for my mock drafts that like compile them into like an average. The only quarterback that is projected in the first round in this compilation is Fernando Mendoza. Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Allar, all day 2 guys, second and third round. There are 6 quarterbacks that are projected in day 3. And so there is going to be a lot of quarterbacks that are coming in that are not going to be expected to contribute year 1 and are going to be able to learn and grow under a system for at least a year. And we've seen it. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, all of these guys, you see year 1, there's the talent. As soon as they're able to understand and play the pro style game, they're great. There's a Super Bowl winner in one of those. And so I agree with you. One of those guys is going to be at least one of those guys is going to be a producer in the NFL, I would say by their 4th year.
Not only do I agree with you on the thing about them sitting, even if these guys start week 1, the graphic from CBS, the graphic from Fox, the graphic from ESPN is going to be Fernando Mendoza and the other rookie quarterbacks. You are not going to, you're not going to have to deal with it. Now, you play well, you're going to get the hype. It's the NFL. All eyes on it. All Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Sunday. That's what we're watching. So you're going to get hype, but for a couple weeks, you're going to get to slide because week 1 is wild. Week 1's crazy. We're going to want to know how the Patriots are doing. We're going to want to see what Denver's doing. We're going to want to see what Seattle's doing. There's going to be so much. So you're going to get about 3 or 4 weeks till we kind of start to figure it out. And then we're going to go, well, hey, wait a minute. You see what Nussmeier's doing? You see what Drew Allar's doing? So even if you don't sit, you're going to get a couple weeks to kind of breathe before the storm comes. All right. We'll wrap that up. We'll also wrap up the poll, 100%.
Ray, thank you for carrying the poll and the chat. We appreciate you.
Ray, my dog, holding it down for us there. So we'll wrap that up. And yes, with 100% of this is the Le Batard thing to do. You just give the percentage. With 100% of the vote, Fernando Mendoza, worthy of the number 1 pick. Yes. And then we'll put a stop on the poll. Excuse me. All right, Drew. Ooh, hitting buttons I should. We are going to. I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to do it for you. We're going to take a quick 40-second break. We're going to come back with footy. Please, he'll take his PB&J toasted. Please stick around, even if you just hopped in. Like I said, we have a great charity that we like to give love to here on the Straub Sports Show. So I'm going to give them some shout out. And then when we come back, one of the funnest, awesome, amazing footy segments that we have ever had, combined with a result and news. I don't know if we have ever had a combination that has made me happier and little bro sadder. So stick around. Let's first take a second and hear from Ani's Army.
Today I want to talk to you about Ani's Army Foundation. Started by Mark and Lynn Meyer to honor their daughter Annika, Ani's Army Foundation was formed to raise money for the research of medulloblastoma tumors and other pediatric cancers, while making a positive impact on the community and helping those families in need. Here on the website, anisarmy.org, you can follow Ani's story, a story of strength and the love that her family has with her and she has with them as she fights this battle. Here on the website, if you can, please donate via Venmo, credit card, PayPal, cash, or check. Any donation is loved and any donation is appreciated. Thank you.
All right, and we are back on the Straub Sports Show. And Drew, the footy segment is normally yours to drive, so I will let you run the graphics because they are yours, and you can start, but then I'm going to take over at some point. Have a way, little bro.
Absolutely, and kind of changed it up a little bit. I think I like the new scheme or the new graphic a little better. So let me know your thoughts here. Oh, hello. Let's not look at that first. We have the smaller games underneath. Some good results from Villa. Liverpool at the death was a great game. Sorry, Nady. Forest with a good win. West Ham, good result there. Spurs, not a good result as they lose they draw late to stay in relegation. Bournemouth, Leeds, good wins, and Fulham and Brentford draw. Wanted to get those out of the way because we did talk about them last week. Ken, I'm gonna give you the choice here. What game do you want to talk about first?
I would like to talk about the Arsenal City game first, because our game will then lead into the other conversation that we need to have, and with just perfect timing, Mr. Sean Marzinski has entered the chat. Nothing to see here. Do me a favor, Sean. Drop the bottle emoji in the chat, please. Manchester City 2, Arsenal 1. Drew, the bottle job is alive.
We're obviously going to talk about my result, and I'm going to just be in depression mode.
Let's have fun first.
The fact that there is a team, maybe two if we're playing Tottenham, that is more depressed, and fan base that is more depressed than I am right now, and they're both my London rivals, is keeping me actually paying attention to the Prem right now. We went out with some coworkers and we watched this game in its entirety. If not for a Donnarumma error that drew this game at 1-1, this Manchester City team would have been dominant in all aspects of the game. There was in the 70th, 80th minute that I was watching this game going, is Arsenal going to attack and try to push for a goal here? City controlled every aspect of this game from start to finish other than the error. And the fact that this Arsenal team just fell flat in its face in the game that they had said, we're taking this game seriously. We're not scared. We're fully in on it, and got dominated, has to just send the worst kind of message to the locker room, because everyone, including you, knew that this was the game you had to at least get a result in. And you looked pathetic. You looked like you couldn't be on the same field as them. And anytime you tried to get something going, they snuffed out and took back possession. It was shocking to see how bad they were.
I said last week, if they didn't win this game, they weren't going to win the title. That the reason I said that is exactly what happened here. This team is now, I don't care what you say, or what anyone else will say, or what an Arsenal supporter or apologist will say. This locker room is absolutely in shambles right now. The reason being, the reason they were winning so much throughout the majority of this campaign is their manager became defiant and said, my team is this, my team is good, my team is going to win, and I don't care, and I don't want to hear it. Then when they start to lose, instead of keeping that defiance in a Jose Mourinho way or a Pep Guardiola way, Mikel Arteta does what he has continued to do as a coach, and you've referenced it many times, so have I, and that is he starts to panic. He needed, I'm going to assume as a player, a Roy Keane-like captain, a Patrick Vieira captain for an Arsenal player, to grab him during bad spells and go, get it together. We're going to come together as a group and we'll be fine. The problem for Mikel Arteta is as he's become a manager, he's not been able to shake that from being a player. He is rattled by what is going on, and therefore it trickles down to the players and to the staff, then it trickles down to the players, and now you lose 2-1 to Manchester City. At this point, these aren't collapses. He's just not good enough to get this team over the line. It finally needs to be said. He is not either learned yet or matured enough as a manager, or maybe this job with this pressure with being there before is too much. He is not able to get them over the line. Now, don't get me wrong. This could come back to haunt. But at this point, we're seeing this for 2 years now. We've seen this for multiple years. He gets to late in the season, it starts to get tight, and instead of keeping the same kind of attitude as a Jose Mourinho or a Pep Guardiola or a Sir Alex Ferguson, he starts to absolutely buy into the hype or buy into the panic, buy into the media talk, and he's not able to keep his team together.
No, you're absolutely right. We also forget this is his first managerial role at a club. He was the assistant coach at Manchester City and then went straight into the Arsenal job. And so I think you're absolutely right. He doesn't have the experience of a lower club where the pressure isn't insurmountable. There's pressure, but it's not insurmountable like it is in the Premier League to fall back on and say, no, I've dealt with something like this before. Maybe not at this level, but I've done this. He's never had to deal with that. It's always been Pep that that has had to deal with it. And so, unfortunately, it's kind of a trial by fire, and he's failing tremendously because season after season, we see it. This Arsenal team comes out, they're flying, they look great offensively, the defense is super stout, and they build up a lead in the Premier League. And then at some point in the season, whether it's before the January window, whether it's after the January window, whether it's in April like it was here, the offense dries up. He doesn't know how to tweak and tinker to get the offense working, to win in big situations. And he overplays the moment in his own head and overthinks it and cannot see it through. So if I'm an Arsenal fan or I'm upper management, I have to look at myself and say, can he ever turn this around without having to go somewhere else and prove it first?
It's funny that you say that because, as you said, this was his first managerial job. Pep dealt with everything. Clearly, and assistant coaches are not always copies of their head coach. That doesn't always do you any good. You need a difference of opinion and a different voice. Clearly, Mikel Arteta was the wound up guy who caused a little bit of panic that gets your adrenaline going that Pep was able to then use and squash out. And now he's in charge and he still hasn't been able to kind of figure that out. He needed to be somewhere else. And it's funny that he gets this because then all I have over on my side is the question of, is Michael Carrick good enough for the job? Can Michael Carrick lead this team? Can Michael Carrick lead this team? And Michael Carrick has a hell of a lot more coaching experience with the little bit that he does have than Mikel Arteta did before he got the Arsenal job. Speaking of Manchester United 1, Chelsea 0. The Reds go marching on in the battle of the Straub Sports Show. I'll let you have the floor first, sir.
I first want to say this game was actually one of our best defensive performances in the past 4 or 5 games. We actually looked competent defensively. We had one lapse when we had 10 guys on the field because one of our guys went out injured and couldn't come back on, and that's what gave up the goal. So offensively or defensively, we looked actually pretty okay and pretty all right. We brought Liam Rosenberg in as an offensive mind that was able to tinker and actually play, up tempo and get this team some fun attacking play. This is the most toothless offense I think I've ever watched as a Chelsea fan. Listen, Graham Potter was garbage for us. At least we looked semi-confident going forward. The only thing that I saw during this game was let's let Cole Palmer weave through the field, send it out to Alejandro Garnacho, and Alejandro Garnacho is either going to get dispossessed by the fullback or he's going to try to pass it inside to get the ball back and misplace the pass and turn it over. The lack of creativity, the lack of understanding that when a player doesn't have it, you move the ball away from him, and the stubbornness to just not change things game to game is the most infuriating thing. And obviously we have more to talk about, in the preview. But the fact that your defense that's been shambolic the past 4 or 5 games actually looked semi-competent and you controlled a lot of this game, and your attack was so bad that it lost you the game, speaks volumes to how far this team has dropped in level since getting rid of Enzo Maresca.
Sorry, we're gonna stay on this game.
I also want to say that I don't laugh at you when you're having a tough time, so I'd appreciate the same courtesy.
I apologize, little bro. It's just it's all boiling up on you at once. And you've been very good for a while now, and I've been very bad. So I'm sorry that I'm reveling in this. It just happens to line up on the same week. So we'll stick with the game. Obviously, we have other news to talk about with your team. We'll get there. I don't even know where to start. I'm going to start with Garnacho. He came on very early in the first half, and all I'm going to say is every time this man touched the ball or was on defense near the ball, my eyes lit up. I stopped what I was doing because I was doing something during the game, so I was listening for portions of it while watching and bouncing back and forth between the kitchen. I heard Garnacho's name, and I made sure that no matter what I was doing, I was even more locked in than before because it was just hilarious. He gave the ball away every time that he had it. He also was just shambolic on trying to make runs back on defense as well. Sorry. I mean, if you don't know, we recently sold Alejandro Garnacho over to Chelsea. So there's bitterness here. As Drew texted me when Garnacho came on, Mason Mount needs to come on now at halftime so we can make this.
He also looked bad when he came on.
Mason Mount came on the field, absolutely got booed to death every time he touched the ball and looked horrible itself. Drew, only your Chelsea team in a dip of form could have allowed the way my team played win a game, because our offensive attack was shambolic, was awful. Shout out to Mateus Cunha for the goal. Was a great goal, was a great shot. Hit it clean, or hit it beautifully. That was about the only little flash of brilliance. Other than the defensive side, I do believe this team actually played a pretty decent defensive game. It was very much helped by the fact that Chelsea said, "Here, Cole Palmer." Not a lot you're going to be able to do from there. United takes the points. You have another result that we will talk about real quick. I didn't get my chance, so I do just want to point out, apologize. Poor Oos. The 2-1 win there from Liverpool over Everton was definitely tough. And then Pops as well, going down 2-1 to Bournemouth. Newcastle kind of falling apart. As we're getting down the stretch there. Spurs, I'm over it, and I'm now just ready for them to go down. I'm over the historic club thing. I give up. You're not man. The best 2 things that I've seen is the amount of times that Spurs have not gotten 3 points when a guy who scores a goal for them takes their shirt off. And secondly, them asking our shirt off celebrations a yellow card in the championship, because you get what you get at that point.
Yeah. Speaking of,
Sunderland also shaky here towards the end.
Yeah, Village, great comeback by them. Speaking of, let's take a quick look at the table. This obviously isn't updated to the midweek games. I kind of run it. The midweek games and the weekend games are technically together. So when we talk about it next time, that will be the fully updated table. But as of Monday night, these are the tables. This is the table. Arsenal sitting with the 3-point advantage over City, who has that game in hand. United and Villa and Liverpool are kind of that 3 sitting in there. Much below that are Chelsea, Brentford, Bournemouth, that whole kind of section there. Moving all the way down to the bottom, Wolves was officially relegated this weekend. Burnley probably this week as well, or this upcoming week. And then Tottenham and West Ham are your 2 teams that are going to be battling it out. Forest, with that win, I wouldn't say sealed it, but put a massive gap between the rest there. And so West Ham and Tottenham are going to be your 2 teams fighting it out, and neither are doing anything to help their chances.
Quick on this. Well, this isn't currently updated, is it? Through the midweek?
It is as of Monday night.
Okay. So we'll talk about what we have to talk about.
Yes.
Sorry, Wolves fans. That is terrible. This race for those last couple spots for Europe are absolutely going to be an electrifying thing to go down here, not just the title race. And so you have the spots for Europe, amazing. The title race, amazing. West Ham versus Tottenham for which one of these historic clubs are going to stay up. We've got a lot going on in this final run-in. Drew, I am going to put you on the spot. West Ham, Spurs, who goes down?
I say Spurs. I think West Ham have the higher run of form. No one is taking over the Tottenham job right now that is turning the ship around. And I think them losing to Brighton in that fashion was the last wind in their sail to leave. I think Tottenham goes down.
I just don't believe so. If Spurs had enough fight, I think we would have seen it. This West Ham team has found some fight, and I think that will help them get out. Shout out to David Moyes. I'm sorry. West Ham. But I think I called it. I know David Nuno. Yeah, Nuno Espirito. I cannot believe. Yeah, David Moyes. Congratulations, Ken. Old man getting to the end of the show. Brains running out. I agree with you. I think West Ham get out. I'm going to put you back on the spot here. Arsenal, City. Who wins the title?
City. That is the most obvious thing. This Arsenal team just. Also, like, speaking of this, there was an interview with U.S. and Bournemouth midfielder Tyler Adams where he spoke on this as they just played Arsenal, where he was surprised by how nervy the Arsenal fans were during their game. And if they were nervy then, their next run-in with Newcastle is going to be every pass they're going to be shaking. So I can't imagine that an Arsenal team that is shaken in the locker room and is not getting help from their fans and their stadium is going to be able to pull it off.
That's tough because I can't blame the fans. Arsenal fans are tortured over the past couple years, and they are literally watching for the 3rd year in a row their team collapse down the stretch when they were the front runner majority of the year to win the Premier League title. So I completely understand that. That's where it also, once again, and I'm not going to drill it again, but that's where it's on Mikel Arteta to lead that team and go, we're going to make them not feel like that. And they can't get that done. I'm also going to say consistent on my own prediction from last week. I said if Manchester City won that game, I found my pen, by the way. I found my pointer. If Manchester City won the game, they would win the Premier League title. I think Manchester City will do it. That pains me. It hurts me. It's not Liverpool, but the Arsenal collapse is funny. Last question, Drew. Is that how the top 4 will end? Or the top 5? The Champions League spots, are those the 5?
Yes, I think, and honestly, I think in that order. I think United, Villa, and Liverpool are so even in terms of their form that I don't think that it's going to change. And I think City obviously jumps Arsenal, and I think that's the 5. Chelsea, Brentford, everyone down are not going to catch up 7 points to Liverpool, who seems to have at least righted the ship enough to get that spot. I think that's how it ends. I don't think that there's a change there. Now, 6 through like 12, I think are going to have a lot of changes, but I think the 5 are solidified there.
I agree with you. I'm hoping Manchester United can just continue to kind of
Coast it.
stay off this Villa team. I don't want to see Liverpool there, but I do believe they will do it. I'm concerned about your Chelsea team. We will continue that conversation in a second because you are clearly not a question more talented than this Brentford, this Bournemouth, this Brighton, this Everton team. Any of the teams within even Sunderland, Fulham, any team in striking distance of that spot from you, you are tremendously 10 times more talented. But I just don't. I'm concerned you're not going to get the results on the run in with that. Speaking of,
we're going to move into the midweek/weekend games. One result was finished by the time I made this. The other two were today. We'll bring it into here. The results that did happen today: Bournemouth versus Leeds, they drew 2-2, and City, the big one there, a 1-0 win over Burnley, officially putting them same amount of points, same goal differential as Arsenal. Going to be a great run in there. However, I think the one that Ken wants me to talk about is the one that's actually on the screen. 3-0 Chelsea lost to Brighton. It was the 5th consecutive league game that Chelsea failed to score, which is the first time that's happened since 1917, which resulted in Liam Rosenwa shattering Graham Potter's 206-day managerial stint with 107 days, as they have sacked him. Ken, you said it. You said it. The job was too big for him. There are reports now coming out that players were laughing at him and not taking him seriously. He didn't have the mentality to truly grab this young group of guys and point them in the right direction. There wasn't a real clear direction on the field for the most part. And this was something that, unfortunately, again, was something that was on the wall.
buddy. So here's the thing. I'll give you some crap on the game. Now we get to the club and we get to the bigger picture. And this is where I will bring you back in as my brother and not punch you in the back of the head anymore. And I'll give you a hug. I did call this. I did say that the job was too big for him. I mean, and I do believe the week I said it, it was no more evident than the fact that they were doing this stupid huddle thing that you guys were doing. And the referee got locked into the middle of it. Cole Palmer's laughing. Cole Palmer, I mean, I could argue is the best player on your team. He is kind of the engine that makes that thing run with all the other people around it. I know Enzo is in there as well, but I'm just saying you understand, and most Chelsea fans will understand what I mean by that. When he's in the middle of that kind of laughing and joking and not taking it serious, you're doomed. I'm not surprised to hear that guys were laughing at him. The job seemed too big. He couldn't grasp it on the coaching level. He couldn't grasp it on the media level. He couldn't grasp it on the personal day-to-day level with the players. There was something that I saw on the NBC, I think it was pregame, postgame, whatever it was, that the ownership group has talked about changing the philosophy because they are starting to see that it is not working. Drew, you said, and I echoed the week that I was alone, that was the only way to save this Chelsea team. The talent is there, but you said it and I echoed it. If the ownership group didn't change its ways, this was just going to continue to happen. The problem is, can they fix it quickly enough to not allow this season to go completely to waste? Because if this Chelsea team, which Champions League qualification does look like a tough ask, but if this Chelsea team was to completely fall out of Europe or even to be stuck in the Conference League, I would honestly have to look at you and say this is a bad season. This is not a good season from what this Chelsea team could have been.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think at one point we were first in the table under Enzo. Enzo knew what to do and how to push buttons. It's just he was so frustrated at the end that I think the play and the quality dropped because he didn't have his whole heart into it. And I can't blame him with everything that was going on. I think the ownership needs to truly understand how deep rooted this is. And I understand that you want to patch it so you can qualify for Europe and everything like that. The amount we have to strip down to truly rebuild this is going to be a lot and could potentially knock us out of Europe for the rest of the season, because it's not just some of the players. It's not just the manager. It's the sporting directors. It is the board that hired the sporting directors. At some point, it is also the ownership themselves. And to truly grasp that and tear what you've been doing, not just tweaking, but tearing this down from the studs and rebuilding it in a new way, is going to take the rest of this season and into the offseason. Because you need, first step should be getting rid of the sporting directors. If they haven't put in a bad candidate for the job, they've put in a great one that they've ran out of town because they were too hard-headed to compromise. The players they bring in are either way too young and inconsistent, or are so just a non-fit for this team that it's never going to work out. And so the step one is getting rid of the sporting directors immediately. And the issue is that you have your U21 coach being the interim for now, which he's gonna at least garner some respect from the dressing room because he's done it before. But this is, I think, the lowest I think we've felt as a Chelsea fan base in a good while, because yes, you can get managing hires wrong, but to continuously do the wrong thing and have the whole fan base know it's going to be the wrong thing and be proven right time and time again with no change. It's not, oh, we fired him, all right, let's get somebody else in. Is there anyone that's willing to take the job worth bringing in? Unless you get rid of everybody. And that's the problem.
You are 100% correct. I'm not going to, how you want that club to be run, I'm not going to argue with you on, because you're not wrong. Excuse me. And me changing minor details doesn't do you any good. I want you to be good. I don't want you to be better than me, but I want you to be good. That is important. I agree with you on what you want to do as a plan. I would just say this to just add in and throw in with extra. If you want to, I know it's, yes, and this is the same way it was for Manchester United last year and into this offseason as well. It's going to take some time. But if you want to do exactly what you can try to get the best out of for this season, the same way we are trying to do with Michael Carrick, you got to go get a veteran, old school guy who can wrangle that locker room together, throw some chairs around when people start laughing that first day in. This shit is different now. Let's go get 3 points. Let's try to build some results. I don't know who the name is. I know, I'm so sorry, bro. I know Fatty Frank isn't available, but you need somebody.
He just got promoted, baby.
There we go. You need somebody to come in and just grab a hold.
I agree with you. I think the one problem that I think I have, right, is remind me of your last coach's name. I'm sorry.
You're talking about Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim, while I think had the right mindset and did a lot of right things, I think when he came in, that locker room was so far gone that he hadn't even fully convinced the entire locker room to buy in before he left. He got most of it. I'll give him credit. He gave most of it, but it took a lot of time. And then Carrick came in, finished the job, and also implemented a better style that fit with the team. To do what you're saying, I think would take too much time for how far gone this locker room is. To laugh at a head coach, to laugh at your manager. No, I don't even care if you bring in Sir Alex. It is taking at minimum half a season to fix that locker room because they don't believe in the head coach. They don't believe in the sporting directors. They don't believe in the owners. They're doing it for themselves right now. And so my only worry is no matter who you bring in, I don't think you have enough time to truly change the culture in that locker room before it's too late.
I agree. And you're going to have to lose probably potentially some good players to clean through that. I've seen it. I've been through it. So, Drew, real quick, run us through the rest of the results that we have for the fixtures we have for the weekend, and let's get out of here.
Oh, sorry. I think I had the first little blip in like a year.
Okay. Run us through and let's get out.
Yes. Yeah. So like I said, the results from the weekend are from the week. The weekend fixtures: Forest take on Sunderland, Villa take on Fulham, and what's going to be a good European kind of bout there. Crystal Palace go to Liverpool, Everton go to West Ham in a Europe versus relegation battle there. Maybe Spurs can pull 3 points off a relegated Wolves, but I don't know at this point. The Wolves will be playing with nothing to lose and take a point there. And then Brentford travel to Old Trafford as Ken. You don't need a win, but it'd be another good one. However, this Brentford team is hungry for a Europe spot.
First of all, we do need a win. Secondly, if we go out and we play the same way we played against Chelsea, we will not beat Brentford. No offense to you, bro. But so we'll see. The Michael Carrick experiment is really starting to kind of show its kind of entirety, and I'm not 100% sold anymore. I'm not, or I shouldn't say that because I was never 100% sold, but I'm going back to the other side of the fence now. But we'll see. Games left. We'll see what the results hold, and we will tap in with that next week. Did you need the soccer?
Well, yes, and the last big one we talked about it. Newcastle travel to the Emirates to take on Arsenal. Ken, do Arsenal drop more points this week?
If it wasn't a struggling Newcastle team, I would probably have said yes just immediately without even hesitation. This Newcastle team is really struggling right now. That is the one thing. If you were an Arsenal fan, what do I need right now? I need a team that is struggling mid-table. Boom. Got you right here. Here's Newcastle. Here's your chance to get 3 points. City got theirs. So here's your chance. This is it. If I don't know if it'll happen, it's going to be hilarious as hell to come in here and talk about it next week if it didn't. But we'll see. But this is what they need to get right.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Running schedule for Arsenal. Fulham, a team still battling for Europe potentially. West Ham, a potential relegation team that's going to be punchy. Burnley, probably going to be relegated. And then Crystal Palace, an always punchy team. So not the hardest schedule in the world, not by a long shot, but some fixtures that a team like Arsenal could trip up on, especially if City continue to roll and put pressure on them.
I agree with you there. To wrap up, I'm going to throw out some things and then I will give you your proper ending to the show. The Cuyahoga Falls Rapids, obviously our favorite team here on the show, the team that I'm blessed to be vice president and broadcaster for. We have our first preseason game this Saturday at 6:00 as we take on our rival, the Cleveland Broncos. Round 2. I will be absolutely, I'm excited for this. It's been a stressful and busy week to get ready for it. I'm not going to lie. But I'm absolutely ready to go. Our media team is ready and lined up to be what we have been for a year plus now, and that is the best media team around on this level of football, and we will continue to set that standard and raise the bar. The players are ready. I know, because I wake up and go to sleep and get up and get in the middle of work and all of that, to 87 million messages from these guys. They are ready to go. So I'm excited for that. Check us out live on the Straub Sports Show YouTube page. Like I said, that's the official and standard home for the Cuyahoga Falls Rapids. We're trying to get the multi-stream service going. I'm not promising anything for the first preseason game. So check out the YouTube page. You might already be there now, but that's where we'll be. Week 1 preseason. Everyone must round. Drew, final shout outs.
Yes, thank you everyone watching, commenting, liking. We appreciate your support in any way you do it. Draft, obviously, this weekend. NBA playoffs, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. We didn't mention them. We did not mention them this show, but the Guardians are also on this weekend. Tons and tons of sports to watch, but it's also going to be really, really nice. So get a chance to get outside.
Absolutely, get outside. I'm coaching again. Shout out to Landon. Oh, funny story.
Go to the Rapids game.
Yeah. We're in Cleveland, but come to the Rapids game. Watch us on YouTube. I'll end with a funny story. We'll call it Parent Corner. I'm stealing that from Bill Simmons too. But we'll wrap it up with a funny story. I coach Landon's soccer team. We had our first game this weekend. My man played great out in the field. Got put in the goal in the last end of it. Made 2 good saves. The last play of the game, literally the last play of the game. She's coming down the field. She's breaking away. The ball bounces up, so she doesn't just get a normal kick. She just drills it. Hands, face, drops the ball, rolls into the goal. My man is just devastated. We had fun with it. I did tell him, I said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Then don't drop the ball." I said, at some point, and I know, and you call me a terrible dad. I don't care. I've said it to Drew a million times. If you're not that hurt, finish the play. But we had fun with it. I love him to death. He doesn't know that Dad did kind of cringe when he did drop the ball, but he'll never know, and that's okay until he watches.
Happens to the best of us, kid.
I know, and to your uncle many, many times. That'll do it for us here on the Straub Sports Show. No, you were a damn good goalie. Much love to all of you. Please do us a favor. Please do us a favor on your way out. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscription, all of the above, a share. We appreciate the love and the likes. Throw those in there for us on your way out. Got to give love. Ray, dog, MVP of the chat today. Carried it. We appreciate you. Pops, as always, we love you. I can't say the end because I say it at the end. Marzinski, appreciate you popping at the end. Moms, everybody else, we do appreciate you guys. We love it. Go Rapids. Have fun with the draft. Get outside. Have some fun with the playoffs. Enjoy the weather as long as we can. And that'll do it for us. We will be back next week. Me and Drew need to figure out how we're going to do this within my now broadcasting schedule, how we're going to carry the show and all of that. We'll figure that out and we'll let you know. For little bro, I am Big Bro signing off. We'll see you next week. And please remember to love yours.
This is the Straub Sports Show. Hey, Ken's got fire and a wild hot take. Hey, Andrew's stats make the whole place shake. Hey, laughing loud when your team goes down. Hey, Straub boys run this sports town.